Hey YouTube, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles. We're going to continue our series about different ball python morphs, some of the things you can do with them, some of the combos, some of the adults, so you can see a little bit of everything. But buckle up, because this one's going to be an interesting one, and one that I've been looking forward to doing for a while. I'm going to try to keep it somewhat short. Wish me luck. And then we're going to go to Patreon, and we're going to tell you our future plans with this morph, which you're not going to want to miss that, because that's going to be things that you're going to be able to buy and where we're going to take this long term. But let's start. Today's snake we're going to talk about is... oh man, you guys are so lucky. You guys are so lucky. That's a normal ball python, but that's not what we're going to talk about. There's a reason I got that out. Oh, and you just shed. Even better. Because when you put them on camera, it's hard to tell the difference. People say, I can't see what's going on. But if I put them both together, it shows up. So this is a very old, when I say very old, I mean he's probably close to 10 years old. Why are you darting away? Man, everybody's crazy today. Axanthic ball python, SK line normal. This was produced by John Dog. Didn't come to us from John Dog, came to us from a third party, but they'd got it from John. So this is what we're dealing with here. And what I really want you to pay attention to is the colors. So you can see the blacks, snakes, you guys are making this difficult, are just darker black, more pure. And then of course, with the absence of the yellow, you're getting silver on the back instead of that color of goldish. See that? That's the difference. Now, if I just show you this without something to contrast it, people will see them on camera and say, ah, it looks like a normal. When you see them in person, oh, don't do that. Don't try to fuck right on the table. No, that's not our job. Did you see that? He was trying to get him some right on the table. No, bad snake. So that is just to show you the difference of them. Man, oh man, when you're trying to wrangle two large ball pythons, you only got one hand, or two hands. Hold on a second, let me put these guys back, and then we're going to get right into the combos, because I think that will be an important thing to do. Get in there. I tell you. Now this was one of the snakes that got me into ball pythons. So for me, Axanthic is everything. Axanthic by itself, yes! I just showed you the difference. You're probably still going, okay, that's it. I get it, right? This is a gene that as a recessive, and when you see babies, they're gonna look way better than that. But just like an adult, like any ball python, they tend to brown. So you wanna remember that. They're going to darken. There's ways to fight that. We'll work on that too. But I want you to understand that's going to happen. So as adults, they're not gonna look that crazy. However, when you start pairing it, then you get what kind of holds the same look as babies. Let me show you this one. This is an adult Pastel Axanthic. Now I've got multiple different ones of these we can pull out. Here's another one, because their color is different depending on where they're at in shed. As you can see, this one's much lighter. This one's getting closer to a shed cycle. So I'm just going to throw this one out because it's kind of in shed. Get back in there. Those are actually sisters, so their colors are usually pretty similar. So this is a Pastel Axanthic. So you can really see now you're getting to keep a lot of that silver color because you've brightened it up a shade. You're getting to do some cool stuff with it, right? This snake's freaking awesome. Pastel Axanthic, but it gets even better when you start adding in more genes. You want to lighten this up and lighten this up. Actually, keep this out for a minute, Kurt. Keep this out for a minute. Keep that right there. Because then what you can do is let's add another pastel gene to it. Man, you want to breed, don't you? This is a super pastel Axanthic. So this is a breeding male. This is a young adult male, but you can see the difference. Now we've cleaned that up one more notch. Look how much brighter it is again. So super pastel Axanthic on top of a pastel Axanthic. It lets you really kind of see what's going on. Just amazing animals. So I like to delete the color. There are some people who don't, and if you don't, that's fine. But for me, working the Axanthic, getting to true black and white is kind of the goal of everything. Let me kick this up another notch. All the hate of spider gene, we're going to pull out some more spider gene. And I can tell you why, because spider makes this stuff awesome. Let's start with a straight spider Axanthic. See how his attitude is today. Pretty good. Straight spider Axanthic. And you can see this is not one I produced. This one was produced by Tall Grass Reptiles, but only has 2 dots. So a lot of my clean males came from this. A lot of my clean spiders. This is one we really used to further that and do holdbacks from. Had a lot of the pattern I was really looking for. And these things look awesome. Spider Axanthic. When you get rid of that yellow, you get that color. But you can make that even better. Let me show you. This is an in-house produced from 2019, just growing like a weed, zebra bee. So when you add that pastel in with that spider, with that Axanthic, this is what you get. You cannot tell me that's not a breathtaking animal. Yeah, there's a lot of work to get there, but nothing is going to do what Axanthic does, right? Nothing. And that's the whole point of it. You ready to go back, buddy? So, stay. So let me up it one more notch. You guys ready for one more notch of upping it? Of course you're going to be in shed. Yes. So he's in shed. So he doesn't look as good as he normally does. This is a killer zebra bee. And you're going to see on his face is blue in the eyes right now. So basically what you're doing here is super pastel. You want to bite me. I know you do. You always do. Why do you want to be that way? I'm not feeding you. Thank you. Super pastel spider Axanthic. Whereas this is just pastel spider Axanthic. This looks, I mean, I don't know if Kirk can see the face on it or not. You can see it is in blue. So you got to take that with a grain of salt. It usually looks way, way better, way, way brighter. It's, again, just like this on steroids. But this will maintain a much lighter color than this. These tend to brown out a little bit with age, just like a bumblebee would. So you're working with the same kind of thing, right? Just kind of keep that in mind. Really? No, you're going to fly off the table if you do it. Yeah. Since this one's being a little bit of a crank monster, I'm going to go ahead and put her up. I know. It's not food. You don't want to stay out. I get it. Show you a couple other things while I'm over here we can do with these. Oh, great. I see you didn't eat your rat and you put it somewhere I don't want. This is our only visual double recessive. I think, yes, we have some kryptons, but those aren't truly a true visual double recessive. They're a double het. This is what's called a snow. So you've taken an albino and you've mixed it with Axanthic. So you're trying to get that high contrast albino and then you kind of try to delete the yellow, which does seem like you're fighting yourself a little bit. Well, and you are, but you get this really cool animal. I like it. A lot of ghosted pattern in there. This was something I've been chasing since the very beginning, along with the zebra bee I just showed you, and then the killer zebra bees as well. Something we always wanted. Now this one we didn't produce. We got this from John Ross. This came from, not produced by John Dog, but came from 2 snakes that he had produced from what I've been told. So there's that. Now, how do you get to all this? Where did all this start for me? Well, let me put these guys up and I'll tell you, because I think that's an interesting thing. I think if you want to be a breeder, you want to get into making ball pythons, or maybe you don't. Maybe you just want to, have ball pythons. You still might want to know where and how breeders like me got to that. You can invest a lot of big dollars and you can get there. I didn't. Now I still invested a decent amount of money because it was back in the Wayback Machine, so things were more expensive. But I bought this guy first because I wanted an Axanthic. And then I realized how long it was going to take me. I also wanted to breed, so I bought this. This one I bought straight from John. Come here, girl. I know. I'll keep you supported because it's that time of year. Ugh. And this is a pastel, 100% het Axanthic. And she has proven out. She's bred almost every year since she got to size and produced. She's a big, big girl. So she has been awesome for me. Now, I started with that. Well, actually, I started straight, then I bought this one. I realized how long of the process it was, and I cheated, and I bought my spider Axanthic. So spider Axanthic to here, 2 unrelated animals. So I was starting with 2 snakes not from the same person, so I could do some inbreeding when I got done, or some line breeding, if you want the nicer term, without having to worry as much about when I needed to outcross. So I still have to outcross, and we have done that. I can show you. Well, 1, that killer zebra bee is outcrossed, and 2, I have an Axanthic pastel male I use as outcross. So by doing this, we gave ourselves about a 1 in 8 shot at making zebra bees, right? We did make a zebra bee. However, we had him for several years. We did breed him, and he passed. You're going to lose a snake every now and then. It's unfortunate. That was one I hated to lose. I fought against it for a long time, and I don't want to admit it, but I might have cried. Anyway, I don't do that most of the time over snakes, but I did on that one. So that is how we started getting to that process. Well, on top of that, we didn't want to just stop and do zebra bees, right? That wasn't our goal at all. So using another male, who I'll show you here, just a pastel axanthic, but a visually nice pastel axanthic, right? We're using him. He came out of Florida, actually from Ben Siegel, is where he came from. So this is the male we used to do some outcrossing with, knowing we wanted to go back to some of our other ones we've made. I started producing things like this. Now don't mind that this snake is going to probably look a little skinny. She laid her first clutch this year, not too long ago. This is a fire yellow belly, 100% het axanthic, produced from that pastel axanthic I just showed you, and a fire yellow belly holdback that I've created and have. Now, with that, and her producing, after being bred to our super pastel axanthic, gives us about a 1 in 8 chance at, I think, at fire bees. Pastel's going to be there, for sure. Axanthic will go to half, so it's 1 in half. And then you'll also get fire. And so I guess it's 1 in 4. Pardon me. 1 in 4 chance. So happens you do Punnett squares in your head. Chance at firefly axanthics. But we also have the yellow belly in there in an extra. So yeah, we're going to make some cool stuff. You are freaking out. Okay, I'll put you back. So you have to think when you start doing these projects with these recessives about making your hets, how you're going to get there long term. I could just go in and just dump a bunch of money and buy a bunch of shit and hope it works out. And it probably would for a lot of people. But I didn't have a lot of money to invest, and I didn't want to be eating ramen noodles because of this, nor did I want to stress how I was going to pay my bills because of this. So I let it grow on its own, and as it was producing and paying for itself, et cetera, you know, is how I got to where I am. But we have that we saved as a het. We also have this we saved as a het. This one has not gone this year. I don't know if she will. And what this is a pastel yellow belly. And again, that one we were breeding to our killer bee. So we were looking for some super pastel yellow belly stuff, some pastel yellow belly axanthic stuff, all of that. I will tell you, I have a snake I do believe to be pastel yellow belly axanthic. I can go get it if we want. And I think it's a little bit of a, I don't think it gets as much yellow out, which is a little bit of a bummer. But, you know, that kind of happens. Got to find it here. Are you? No. Here it is. So when you run the yellow belly in there, and you can start to get a little bit of yellow hue that doesn't kind of wash out all the way. But I think that might be what we have going on in here. The tail pattern doesn't really scream it, but the colors kind of do. So it'll be interesting to see when we breed that out what it proves out to, and I'll show you what I mean. Because if you look again at a straight pastel axanthic, you can see how there's almost a golden overtone here, which I think is a yellow belly coming through a little bit. So there is that. You guys are both males, I know. Actually, you're not. You're male and a female. So with axanthic, the trick is this, guys. You want to make the brightest snake you can make, okay? The brightest snake you can make, like a killer bee fire, or something like that. Then you want to make it axanthic. You want to get to that true high contrast black and white. Fireflies are going to be awesome in axanthic and are awesome. Superflies will be a step better than a firefly in axanthic. That is always, or should always, I think, be the goal. Anyway, that's my opinion. Now, I know Kurt thinks we have too much of this, and I'll show you one more, because I forgot about this one, I'll be honest. Sometimes I do. It's easy to do when you've got a huge collection, which isn't even that huge. And that is one that Kurt hates, the Axanthic pin. And I'll explain why I have this. So this came from an entirely different breeder. And I like this snake. I think it looks great. You know, and you're probably saying it looks like a normal pin. But again, Axanthic on camera doesn't show well or in photos unless you really have something to contrast it. That should really show the difference. You can see where the color has been stripped from this versus this. I mean, it's pretty evident when it's there. So, Kurt, do you have any questions before we hop off of here and go to Patreon and talk about what our future plans are for the next several years when it comes to Axanthic, what I'm working on?
No.
All right, guys, that's all I got. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed Axanthic. One thing I should mention before we get off of here, because I didn't mention it because I only work with one line, is when you do get into Axanthic, there are multiple lines of it. What you see us work with here is called the TSK line, or the Snake Keeper line. You'll hear it referred to as the SK line. That's all the same stuff, all right? You also have the Jolliffe line. You don't see much Jolliffe stuff around, so I always tell people if you get into Jolliffe, know that. The one knock on Jolliffe is going to be it's harder to find outcross animals. It's harder to find additional genetics to pull without making them yourself. You have to be more mindful of that with Jolliffe because there's just not as much Jolliffe out there. Nothing wrong with it. It's going to produce very beautiful animals, but it's just something to consider. The other one you'll run into is going to be the VPI line. You're going to have some people who will sit there and go, you know, it's like Ford Chevy, right? VPI is the only thing that matters. You know, SK sucks and SK's best and VPI sucks. Let me tell you something. What matters is the animals you use, the holdbacks you choose. The line you're working with is not going to have a major effect on the quality of animal you can produce. How you choose your pairings and how you choose the animals you purchase will. Flat and simple. Quality in and quality out. Both SK and VPI can produce high quality animals. I promise you it. I guarantee it. It's the truth. I use SK. It's what I found first. It's what's pretty prevalent in North America, or not North America, sorry, in the Midwest. It's what I kind of got into. I've stuck with SK, not because I will tell you it's way better than VPI, because I know what I can do with it, and I have the animals and the resources to get out crosses when I want. Why are you being this way? Let's not do that. Yeah, you're getting all kind of stiff. There, focus on Kurt. But work whatever line you want. I would prefer you to work SK, because it's what I can sell you, right? But if you have a better luck with VPI or access to more VPI, VPI is going to be just as good too. So don't worry about that. Kurt, any questions before we hop off of here?
No.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to get off here now. We're going to go to Patreon and discuss our future plans with these guys.